Inspiring the LGBTQ community one vague platitude at a time. It's going off with special guest host AdequateEmily. Welcome to the show.
Woo! You all have someone new to complain about.
Now you'll be complaining about 100% of the show. Oh no.
I was a guest on an Easy Allies podcast, and one of the comments was just like, why do you have to shove pride in our face all the time? And I'm like, that was the theme of the episode. It was about gay movies. Of course we talked about it a lot.
Typically, the only thing if we shove anything into people's face, it's neurodivergence on this show. But I haven't got any complaints yet because the audience, I think, is also pretty much in that same barrel.
I've joked for a long time. I think you have to be a little bit neurodivergent to make like videos like these podcasts and these kind of videos, just because you have to obsess over something to talk about it for that long. You have to have some kind of obsessive hyper fixation.
Neb and I made this observation on the sister podcast, the O&A Detox show, that I believe comedians in general kind of have to be on a spectrum to some degree to be like observing what the average person doesn't notice. And it's like I've noticed little idiosyncrasies with comedians that they all just raise a flag for me of just like, yeah, something's going on there.
I realize though, like, because I've been diagnosed with ADHD since I was like 6 years old, so I've had it for a while. Wow. Like, how weird I sound when I like put up, I don't know if there's a good term, but the Tism-dar or something. And I like get a virus, so like I'll just like turn around like, Bo Burnham's got it, and they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I wish I had been.
It's the vibes.
Oh yeah, it's super easy to pick up on it. It's definitely a if you know type situation for sure.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'll be in friend groups and I'll be surprised when someone says they don't have like ADHD or something. And I'm like, you got tested recently? Because you're hanging out with me.
Are you sure about that?
Because that's the thing. I was never diagnosed with autism officially, but I would talk to my friends like who are on the spectrum, and I'd be like, "Is that an on the spectrum thing?" And every time they went, "Yes."
It feels so late for me at this point, turning 36 in 2 weeks, that...
Congrats.
It's like, you just know, though, at this point. Like...
I got so many things at this point. Like, it might as well, you know? Well, you have ADHD, you're trans, you have dysphoria, you're depressed, you got anxiety. You're like, just all come in here. Just wave them in like a bouncer, just coming on it.
There's no bouncer. Just everyone is free to stroll right on in.
I'm just imagining the waving of the bouncer thing, but it's just the copy of the DSM-5 just slowly walking into the room.
It's just a revolving door. It's actually more of a bead curtain. There actually is no door to speak of. But the reason before we get into that, I want to introduce you to the audience, for those who may not know who you are, what you do.
My current suspended Twitter account that most people follow me on.
See, yeah, we can get the plugs out of the way. Oh, that's right. Oh, no.
Maybe I'll have it back when this comes out. Who knows? Who knows? Elon runs a great website. He's so good at managing things.
He runs the best websites. I can attest to that. Just from the past couple weeks, I was going to actually give a little bit of insight from my own personal experience as to how the site has changed for me. But before I get into any of that, what is it that you do?
I do video essays on films. I mostly focus on art house films. I like focusing on stuff that sort of doesn't get covered a lot. I feel like there's a million essays you can find out there about like the MCU or something like that, and I'm not as interested in that. I want to tell you about weird French movies, or in the most recent case, a 1970 Italian anti-fascist film that involves some gayness, but also maybe not. It's vibes. I feel like I'm getting better each video. One of the things that's funny is one of my videos, probably the video I think is the best intro for people to my channel, came from Going Off in a weird way.
Oh yeah, that's right. You had mentioned that. The monkey's
the
head.
monkey's head video. I've been listening to this podcast for a while. I'll say that, like since 2015. So I was 16.
Ooh, wow.
So it's been 8 years, and
I had no idea you've been in it that long. That's awesome.
At the time, I was watching a lot of, like, the same thing I always do. I watch a lot of content at once, and I like media analysis. And I was on Rap Critic's channel, and I was like, oh, he has a podcast? And I checked it out. And it's around the same time I was getting super into music. So, like, I was like, oh, they're covering the new Kendrick album with the needle drop. Let me check it out.
I've known you for a really long time. And
yeah. I think he followed me back around, like, 2018 or so. Like, I think around when I started my channel.
I don't know, because, like, I don't want to bring up the Twitter too much as if it's a
yeah,
sore
but that's
spot.
where most people were interested. No, like, it was my most popular platform. I'm going to say it is, because I still have hope I can get it back from this suspension that they gave me no reason, and they did, like, legitimately, I was premiering a video, and then I opened Twitter and it just said, you have been suspended, and I had no email, and it just said, you violated the rules, and it didn't tell me what rule or what tweet did it. And I'm like, cool. Which makes it seem like it was probably like they thought I was a bot or spamming or something like that.
I still don't understand how that would have been possible.
There's a recent thing that people have been saying where if you block a lot of accounts, like, in a row, it might think that you are, like, part of an algorithm.
Yeah,
and sometimes I do
that.
If I see a transphobic tweet, I just go through the quote tweets and just block.
Yeah, but I've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Like, if that were the case, I would have been kicked off the site years ago.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's a recent thing because they've been messing with the code a lot. And also, they have, like, one person reading all the appeals, which is why my appeals sometimes get rejected in literally 1 second.
I get updates on reported tweets from last year.
I got an update on a reported tweet while I was suspended, and I'm like, this. Oh. It literally just for a week it just said you have one notification because it wouldn't let me read my notifications tab because I was suspended, but it kept showing the notification of we have an update on your report, so it would never go away with the little one circle above it. But yeah, my Twitter was probably the most popular place I have, which I don't know how that happened. I have a guess, probably because I started it before I did my YouTube channel. Because I started around when I started college, and I waited a bit to start YouTube. And I guess it just comes down to the idea of I am a... As much as I hate to admit it, there is probably some privilege in it, and the idea that I am a conventionally attractive trans woman. So
yeah, I'm sure that feeds into it. I was gonna mention the shit posts. I think you're.
Oh
one
yeah,
of the
my shit posts are also oh, thank you. I was gonna say I think I make some of the dumbest tweets.
No, I fucking love your shit. It's always really funny.
My mother follows me on Twitter, and it is very funny hearing her reaction because she's just like, you say the grossest things I've ever heard in my life, and I'm like, you don't understand. I'm low tier for that in terms of the people I'm with on Twitter. I have yet to do any sex work on Twitter, so I'm still a prude by trans Twitter standards.
Well, see, what I was going to mention, and that actually works as a pretty good transition, pardon the pun, is that for the past couple weeks, very new for me, leaning hard into the identifying with the trans femme outside of the non-binary side of it, kind of after years of, like, different forms of denial, just kind of, like, doing a lot of accepting, I guess.
I mentioned it the other day, like, I think it's funny that I remember, like, back when I was watching you guys back in, like, 2015, you'd be, like, one of the few YouTubers being like, hey, we should all support trans people and be very nice. And I'm like, yeah, I also did a lot of that before I realized it, too. It reminded me so much of, like, 10-year-old me being like, gay marriage is a pretty important issue, and every other kid at my school being like, why do you care? Like, we're 10. And But I'm like, I just want to be nice.
Right, yeah.
I came out to my parents in 2015, and then a few months later, Caitlyn Jenner comes out. So
Wow.
I had to have the awkward conversation where my mom walks in and goes, hey, did you hear about Caitlyn? And I'm like, this is uncomfortable.
Oh.
This is very awkward.
Oh. It's like...
I just wanted you to know.
It's like when Christmas rolls around and you have that one relative who knows you like skateboarding, so now all the gifts are gonna be skateboarding related. It's just like, I know you like Tony Hawk. It's like, I've never mentioned Tony Hawk. How do you know who that is?
I just was the one that, the funny thing is, like, as the process of, like, people learning went on, like, that was my parents in, like, 2015, and then 2 years later, when I'm coming out to everyone, my aunt gives my mom a copy of the National Geographic that has, like, transgender revolution on it, and she just laughs and, like, feels embarrassed and hides it from me, and I find it, and I burst out laughing. And sure enough, I tell that aunt that story now, and she's like, listen, I wouldn't do that now. But yeah, around that time, I remember I was listening to the backlog, and RC talked about the movie Head, and I had never heard of it, and I didn't look anything into it. I just thought it was an interesting thing that I'd never heard about. And I let it go back into my memory, and I was like, whatever. I don't need to know about that. And then, like, 6 years later, I'm listening to, I believe it was a We Hate Movies podcast, who are also very cool people that... I know most of them. They're pretty cool. And they talked about the box set that I own on Criterion now, where it has, like, Easy Rider and 5 Easy Pieces, and Head's in there because it's from the same creators.
Oh, okay.
And they called it Film School in a Box, and they didn't count Head out of that. And I was like, is there more to this movie? And then I put it in the back of my mind again, and then the pandemic happens, and one night I'm just, like, feeling weird, and I remember it, and I go on a Wikipedia search, and the more I look, the weirder and weirder everything gets. Like, because it's not just the movie. As I try to set up in the thing, the whole story is weird. Like, the minute you get to the line of, like, one of them is the son of the inventor of liquid paper, you're like, that. How is that, like, a random note there? When I see a headline where I'm like, oh, who's this guy that was used in promotional material? And I look it up and I see noted connection to Jeffrey Epstein. I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, no. You're gonna have a bad time.
I, like, try to explore in that, like, the story around it's so weird. And then funny enough, because RC hated it and didn't like it, the movie at the time, and was making fun of it, I watched it, and because I'm a total fucking weirdo who loves weird surrealist stuff, I vibed hard with it, and I was like, this is really interesting and cool, particularly because before then, I watched a few episodes of The Monkey Show, and it was not my thing.
I've seen clips from the Monkeys, mainly on TikTok. People just, like, make Monkeys compilations. It's so strange.
There is a weird Tumblr fandom of it. I did not realize that until I made it. Also, it's the video I definitely get the most comments from boomers on.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Because it's the one where you get I know it's from a boomer when the comments like, you seem like a very nice lady, and I'm like, yeah, no one under 60 will comment that.
It's like our video on My Mother the Car is a lightning rod for angry boomer comments. They're just like, what else is gonna bring you here?
I think that was one of the first episodes of Rick Hops I watched too, because that one's a wild one.
So I have the boomers to thank. It's probably their angry comments that got it bumped up and suggested for more people. So
that's the thing. I don't get a lot of angry comments on it. Occasionally, I'll get one that was like, "Oh, you were too dismissive of some of their music," and I'm like, "I said it was good. It's just very obvious." As they refer to it, it is very much bubblegum pop rock, and that's all.
It's super of its time, yeah.
Yeah, and I enjoy a decent bunch of it. Like, I think "Daydream Believer" is like one of the best pop songs of the '60s.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's great.
But also at the same time, like, when I contrast it with they finally made their first album written by themselves, and then the next week Sgt. Pepper came out, you're like, oh yeah, I get why. You're like,
boy.
60s really changed a lot in 67.
Didn't stand a fucking chance. No.
That's the thing, as I mentioned in the video, like, I don't think there was a chance for this movie to, like, even if they did a regular Monkees movie where it was, like, nice and family friendly, I don't think there was a chance anyone was going to see that in 1968. The Savior as Bonnie and Clyde?
Ooh, no, that ain't gonna happen. Especially, like, the circles that everyone ran in. Like, the Monkees ran in a Frank Zappa circle. Like, that's not the mainstream circle.
Yeah, Peter Tork of the Monkees was part of the Greenwich Village folk scene. And he got the part because Stephen Stills turned it down and recommended Peter for it. So it's like you see him like at Buffalo Springfield concerts and stuff like that, like around the same time. And like, yeah, Mike Nesmith interviewing Frank Zappa's in the movie. The end of the second season, right when they get canceled, gets so fucking weird. As I mentioned it, like it begins. The second to last episode has an interview with Frank Zappa. But Frank Zappa is dressed as Mike Nesmith, and
That's
Mike
the clip
Nesmith
I've
is
seen.
dressed as Frank Zappa, and they are pretending to be each other. And it goes on for 5 minutes, and nothing else in the episode relates to it.
Of course not.
And you're just sitting there like, oh, this was definitely them at the point of like, we're getting canceled anyway. Why don't we throw out all of our like weed? Like, as I said, like they wrote the movie Smoking Together. I guarantee you they were smoking together in the last end of that show. Like when Jack Nicholson that's the other thing. Jack Nicholson wrote Head, and that's still wild to me. Before he was big, yeah. And that's how he got an Easy Rider, because then they went on to make Easy Rider.
Damn.
It's such a weird fucking story, and I just remember like spiraling into it. Like I just shot my 10,000 subscribers Blu-ray collection video, and in that I've mentioned not only Apocalypse Now, but also the story behind Taxi Driver.
Oh,
that
okay,
I think Tarantino
cool.
tells this one a lot, where Scorsese, like, he finished Taxi Driver, and he just kept getting rated X. And the studio said, if you don't get an X rating on this one, we're cutting it down for you. Wow. And so what Scorsese did that night was he had a loaded pistol and his editing table, and he said, tomorrow I'm going to walk into Columbia Pictures and I'm going to blow the brains out of the studio head, because this is one of the best movies I think I'll ever make, and I'm not letting him cut it down. And all he did in the editing booth was he turned up the saturation on the blood in the final shootout a little bit, and it got an R.
Whoa. Jeez.
And so, like, I believe Tarantino is the story as, and that's why we have Taxi Driver and why Scorsese is not in prison. You realize, like, looking into old film stuff, like, how just, like, some of these people were just barely holding it together for...
Yeah. Rolling Stone has got some clickbaity, hate bait list, because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Whenever they come up with like the greatest singers of all time, it's just to inspire online debate. And I'm pretty sure that's all this is too. Right at like the tail end of Pride Month, we get the 50 most inspirational LGBTQ songs of all time. And yeah, I've got feelings on this one.
Why is Miley Cyrus's The Climb on here? I don't know.
Look, here's the thing.
There's some I disagree with, but I'm like, that is also about gay stuff. I get it. Like, I don't like You Need to Calm Down. But I get how a basic person would get it, would love it. Like a straight person would be like, yeah, this is a high queer song, you know?
This whole thing reminds me of, and I've mentioned them before, but I never really got a chance to talk about them at any sort of length. Pride Radio. Locally, one of our stations has a HD second station that is called Pride Radio. It's a national iHeartRadio station, and it just gets syndicated, I guess, to local markets. and it calls itself the Pulse of LGBTQ America. And just listening to maybe a half hour of it, you just really get the vibe that this is not by queer people for queer people at all. It's just corporate suits being like, okay, what do we think the gays like? Well, we know
I'm just
they
imagining a man in a suit, just like hands together in like a pyramid shape, and he's just like, "Yep, those freaks will like this."
Yeah, but it's like with absolutely no insight from anyone who actually might have any sort of knowledge on it or anything. So it's like, okay, well, we gotta throw some disco in there, of course, because they love disco. And if they love disco, they're gonna love 90s house, so we gotta throw a lot of 90s house in there. And then some new hits that we're just kind of promoting because it's what we do, even if it's not like a song that's championed by the like community or anything. It's just, yeah, I'm sure Harry Styles will play. Let's just throw him in there for the fuck of it. He's got the #1 song right now. Like whatever it was at that moment. It's like, yeah, we'll play that too. Why not? No one's listening to this. No one's gonna complain.
There's definitely some ones on here that I'm like, oh, this reads so much of that. I do not like. I look at this list and I'm like, okay, I don't think this song's about queerness. But this artist at least is popular with queer people. What cool gays are listening to Kelly Clarkson's "What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger" in 2023?
That's what I'm talking about with the vague platitudes. Any song in here that is about overcoming anything is apparently queer-coded, according to Rolling Stone.
There are a bunch in here. Like, again, like, Ariana is popular with a lot of queer people. I don't think that's what Break Free featuring Zed is about.
No, I didn't get that vibe either. Personally.
I don't think that's what Lizzo's special's about.
Now, I do agree that, and I'm not surprised it's in here, but, I mean, okay, I will say, I'm surprised that
when I was in the third grade, I thought that I was gay.
I'm surprised they didn't put it higher, but Same Love at 31 out of 50. Oh man, yeah, no.
It feels so weird now talking about Macklemore. Can you imagine, like, explain to someone now that like 10 years ago, a bunch of the hip-hop community hated Lil Wayne and loved Macklemore? Like, that just doesn't make sense now.
No.
But it was true for a bit. So much of that era feels so weird now to think about.
I think we let Macklemore stick around for... I think we were too nice. I think we let him stick around a little bit longer than we should have.
I think we now have realized that Ryan Lewis was more what we liked from the duo. Yeah.
I think as soon as we heard the Sheets...
Downtown?
No, I was gonna say as soon as we heard Smells Like R. Kelly's Sheets, we probably should have known right from there that Macklemore was the unwanted guest.
I feel like Downtown was the one where people probably started noticing, like, this is a really interesting song, and Macklemore is doing nothing.
Yeah, no. You got the one dude whose name I forgot, who sang on the chorus, and he was cool.
The Foxy Shazam guy.
Yeah, he was great, and the video was interesting.
Melly Mel's in there, I believe. Downtown is, like, such a great beat to it. It's about buying a moped.
Yeah.
And it's at that point where, like, oh, you've run out of the silly... Like, at least Thrift Shop, like, it was silly, but it had, like, a direct thing it was channeling, and it fit, like, anyone who's been broke as hell, but, like, still manages to feel like they have a good... They look good despite it, can relate to Thrift Shop. Who the fuck is being like, oh yeah, I feel like a badass on my moped? Like, that's a very small demographic to relate to.
And it's supposed to be funny because it's ironic, but how does that get radio play? Like, I don't know who he knew that
it's
he was
like
able
8 different parts, too. Like, it has 8 different, like, musical ideas in it, which is very impressive for Ryan Lewis, but also, like... Then Macklemore shows up on each one, and you're like, what? Why is he here? Like, you just keep expecting it just to keep being the guy from Foxy Shazam, or like, I can't think of his name, but the guy from The Darkness, like someone who like could fit on like a Queen type song, like a modern Queen style, like Bohemian Rhapsody, but pop mixed with hip hop kind of thing. And no, it's just always white bread on the on verse 1.
Number 14 is Hero by Mariah Carey. Okay, whatever. Number 13, Heroes by David Bowie. Could you at least space them out?
I don't think that's what Heroes
I don't think it's what about either of those songs is about.
David Bowie absolutely has more queer songs than that, and it's not like he's an obscure artist. There's who's a shocking artist that's not on here at all? Against Me.
Oh my god. See, that's
And at first I'm like, are they too obscure? And then I thought about it and I went, no, Laura came out on the cover of Rolling Stone. What the fuck am I talking about?
There's just no input. There can't be, or else half of these songs wouldn't be in here. But before we get off Heroes, I need to read the description for this because I don't know if they did research either. Talk about love overcoming repression. Inspired by Bowie, witnessing a kiss near the Berlin Wall, the title song from his 12th studio album tells a tale of two lovers, one from East Berlin and one from West Berlin, defying the barriers all around them by being heroes just for one day. The kiss that Bowie witnessed was his producer going down to the wall to have an affair. He was cheating on his wife back home.
And to be clear, it was not with another man. It was a straight kiss as well, too.
No, I don't think so. And even if the song is about the East Berlin, West Berlin thing, what does that have to do with it? Like, you're really reaching at this point.
There are some artists on here that you're just like, really? And then there's like, for example, there is only one Lady Gaga song on the entire thing, and it's number 1. And of course, it's Born This Way.
I didn't even need to read the article to know that was going to be it. See, that's the shittiest thing.
That's not even the best song on that album.
Oh God, no, far from. Like, you didn't poll.
It's not even the best single.
No, we talked about it. We talked about that album on the podcast recently. I like probably half the album more than that song, even.
I don't know if it's very queer, but I feel like Judas should be... Where's Poker Face, actually? Where's fucking Poker Face? Shout out Crash Thompson for that video on Poker Face.
I'm glad you mentioned Judas, because that might be my favorite on that whole album.
I would agree as well. It just has such a good driving beat on it.
It's either going to be Telephone. Where's Telephone? Where's
Bad
Judas?
Romance?
Where's Bad Romance? But no.
But we have Jessie J on here.
Make room for Jessie J. You remember, it's all about the money, money, money. It's not that song.
Only one Hayley Kiyoko song. At least they have Bronski beat on here. I'm like, okay, that would have been unforgivable. 2 different Casey Musgraves songs, which, like, I enjoy Casey Musgraves. Some of these are... One of those is okay with not being on there if you can put, like, one more Gaga song on there, or, like...
See, here's the thing. If they're going by keywords, right, why is...
Where's the Lil Nas X?
Oh my god. Yeah, where
no
the fuck
Janelle
is...
Monáe either.
Okay. You're bringing up a lot of excellent points here.
King Princess isn't on there.
Make Me Feel by Janelle Monáe should absolutely be on here. Fucking Call Me By Your Name should absolutely be on here. If they have Rainbow by Casey Musgraves, where's Rainbow by Kesha? Like, there's so many missed opportunities here. And, like, my brain can't even keep up with all the ones I'm thinking of that just aren't here. It's just because they didn't care.
You know, I have an artist that, of course, is so easily up Rolling Stone's alley. It's a rock band. They're extremely popular. Green Day has, like, 8 different songs about him being bisexual that are, like, big.
Right. Yeah.
No REM.
No REM. I still can't get over. I'm so glad you mentioned Against Me. That's insane.
Like, that's such an easy pick. Just pick Black Me Out. Like, I don't even think that's the best song on the album, but, like, it's the single. It's easy. It has a music video. Just post it. And, you know, if we're just going to be giving points to people who just mention being gay, being good in a song, like, again, like, you need to calm down. That's, like, only one of the 3 verses in there.
That's true.
Fuck You by Lily Allen on here then, too.
Okay, sure.
No Robin, either. No Dancing on My Own.
How about Jenny by Studio Killers? Or any... I know she's divisive, but it's very weird to not see Kim Petras on here, seeing as how she just had the #1 song in the country with Sam Smith recently.
It is so weird. Like,
what's inspirational? How are we qualifying inspirational? Like, how are you defining it? It says, from dance floor classics to soaring ballads, from Christina...
No Sophie.
No,
That
Sophie.
one's so easy. You just need It's Okay to Cry or Immaterial, or...
Yeah.
It probably is not the easier choice, but if you refuse to put on the 2 most famous queer songs you have, like, positive queer songs there, fuck it, put on Pony Boy. I don't fucking care. Just put Sophie on there.
No Orville Peck on here.
No Big Frida. And Big Frida's big right now.
I don't love Sam Smith, but seeing only 1 song on here kind of feels like an underrepresentation, especially, again, because they did have the #1 song in the fucking country very recently.
Frank Ocean.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
You could put Bad Religion on here. You could put Chanel.
All you need to do was ask a very small room full of queer people, and they would have given you... No Troye Sivan. How Bloom by Troye Sivan isn't on here?
No Tyler, the Creator.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You could literally put any song from Igor. You know what? Even though it's not related to the topic of Flower Boy, you know what? Put on Who Dat Boy. I don't care. Just acknowledge it.
I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. Like, you got some on here for cool points. You got Christina and the Queens. I've got no problem with that.
But you had to put the Greatest Showman on there, too. So, This Is Me. That's at 17. The Greatest Showman's theme is at 17.
Wait a second. Why? I didn't even see that. Oh, God.
Again, I have to come back to it again because this is the wildest one to be. Miley Cyrus's The Climb just has nothing to... It's about just vague struggles. It doesn't... Putting the one Kesha song being We Are Who We Are is so weird, too. You mentioned Rainbow. Why We Are Who We Are? No Tegan and Sarah.
Oh.
No Scissor Sisters.
Oof. Yeah.
Like, even just, like, bands that had, like, a hit in the 2000s that were very queer. B-52's nowhere to be on there.
Wow. Holy shit.
Village People nowhere to be on here.
Love Shack should absolutely be on there.
I guess no one really listens to the Village People to get inspired, but
well,
still.
no. But if we're talking about, like this is why I asked, what do they consider inspirational? And I could tell it really just means songs that they think will give you strength, like Britney Spears is Stronger and Kelly Clarkson's Stronger, because they only have a couple keywords that they put in. Heroes, Stronger, and Rainbows. Just a couple keywords. You do the Control F for a couple of these words and just whip it together real quick. And I could tell they did this because the article just says by Rolling Stone. They didn't want to put anyone's name on this article
like
because
all those
they knew
old gaming news articles that just say by IGN staff.
They knew people would be coming for whoever put this dog shit together.
I'm glad Ethel Cain at least gets a shout out, but I do think it's funny because I think American Teenager might be one of the weakest songs on Feature Star. Granted, that's because I like when she gets weird.
Only one Elton John song in here.
Yeah, no Boy George or Culture Club either, which I granted, Boy George has become a weird transphobe, but still.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's true. There should be some type of criteria. Like...
No Tainted Love.
No Tainted Love, no Soft Cell, holy shit. Big absence of 80s.
Where's Sylvester's You Make Me Feel?
Here's one that I'm very surprised because it was a huge trending sound on TikTok very recently. Where's Make Your Own Kind of Music by Cass Elliot?
It's like, I get why they aren't putting Cocksuckin' Blues on here, but still.
Yeah, you know, if you want to play it safe, I understand to a degree.
That's the thing, we're mentioning very obvious artists. Like, if I wanted to go deep cuts, I could be like, where's Gloss? Because what's really inspirational is getting punk with it.
At that point, if we don't care about advertisers, where's fucking Kim Petra's throat goat? We could just put them all on the table. At that point, who are you doing this for? Are you doing it for the culture, or are you doing it for the advertisers? Like, I think we could all tell.
I think I could feel, like, even more, like, I feel like, until I mention it, the most shocking one yet is still Frank Ocean, because that's such an easy one, because he's so well known.
Only one Madonna song. And I know Madonna's kind of passé, and not exactly, like... Madonna's not exactly Mother in 2023.
What are you talking about? That gif with her and Hillary Clinton dancing was so cool.
Do you remember when Hillary did the mannequin challenge?
That is such a 2016 sentence if I've ever fucking heard it.
It's when we all thought she had it in the bag. And she could just make trending videos. And it'd be fine. That'd be enough to get her elected. How about you do the fucking ice bucket challenge? Let's do all of them.
Here's the thing. I want someone in Joe Biden's team to make him do that. Like, I want to see him look extremely confused.
I want to see Joe Biden eat the one chip. I want to see him hack it up a lung.
Hello, my fellow Americans. Today I try the final dab.
This one's the bomb, you say? Why is it called the bomb?
I had a friend who used to bomb.
Oh, all right. I think that there should at least be a certain quota of queer artists on the list, at the very least.
It feels like they were like, we put Freddie and Elton on there. We're done. We're done.
We put Elton John up there, we put Madonna in there, so we can get away with putting Katy Perry at number 3.
That's okay. I need to bring that one up. Firework is such a weird one because we mentioned generic songs that were inspiring but don't have anything to do with queerness. That is an extremely generic song because there's a bunch of songs like that on the list that you could at least be like, oh, there's queer people in the music video. There's none of that in Firework.
No, it's like, okay, we got like a fat girl who like doesn't want to take off her clothes at a swimming party. I think there might be... There's like an awkward person at a party who I guess you could read into they might be queer. It's like a lot of guessing.
Again, and also even the songs that do deal with it on here very much feel like that. Like when you go onto YouTube and you see the short films that are like, what if in a world where everyone was gay and being straight was weird?
Okay, you know what? In that vein, I'm very glad we don't see any Todrick Hall on here. Because they could have easily went down that road. They could have thought, hey, he's got that reality show. He must be popping.
Could have been on here.
Yeah, I think they read the room to a certain extent. No RuPaul, no Todrick Hall. Here's one I just thought about talking about Firework. They put Brave by Sarah Bareilles on here, which, if you remember, there was a little bit of a controversy because Katy Perry had the song Roar that came out very soon after it, and everyone was saying that the songs sounded like exactly the same. And for them to not pick Roar over Brave, I think someone in the room was like, you know, if you put Katy Perry at number 3, Roar can't be in there. Like, that's the sacrifice you have to make.
There are good songs out here too that I'm like, this is a good song. This not only has nothing to do with queerness, I don't listen to it and feel inspired either. Like,
see, like, is this like the songs you put on when you go to the gym to try to get pumped up? Is it the songs you play on your drive over to the Pride Parade to, like, you know...
Like, I love some good Elle Goulding singles, but I'm not listening to Anything Could Happen. That's not only not inspiring, it's just a random battle cry song. It's just electropop song.
While it's not explicitly about the LGBTQ community, no shit, it's a battle cry that has queer undertones, overcoming adversity, shrouding your identity, and metaphorical battle. After the war, we said we'd fight together. I guess we thought that's just what humans do. You know how many times I've said to my queer friends, after the war, we've got to fight together. I guess that's just what humans do. A very common queer expression.
Judas Priest? Nothing?
No Judas Priest. There's a wealth of choices there. No Big Gay Heart by Lemonheads. I'm just spitballing here. There's plenty to choose from.
Again, like, I get that if I was making a list, I would be the only person being like, guys, we need to put backwash on here.
Oh, shit.
Or,
there you
guys,
go.
Hear me out. Coil's Anal Staircase.
Oh, yeah. Where the fuck is Pansy Division?
Pansy Division? Oh my god, you're right.
Look.
That's the thing. You know it's not a great list, but I'm like, I'll give credit for Bronski Beat. One of the most famous queer bands ever.
So I'm surprised Erasure isn't in there. At that point, if we're just fucking knocking off the obvious ones.
I'm just trying to look through. I'm just going on Wikipedia and looking at list of LGBT artists. Let's see.
Something
LGBT
they could have
musicians.
easily done, mind you. This is, that's maybe the first thing you'd think to do.
First one you look up is Lil Nas X and Janelle
Yeah.
Monáe and Rob Halford, who are all absent from the list. 30 singers from Pink News that you may not know are LGBT.
Ooh.
Okay, well, the first one I'm already glad he's not on the list because it's Jason Mraz.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
I was not aware of that either, but also, maybe it's good that we don't have I'm Yours on the Inspiring Queer. I didn't know Fergie was bisexual, so technically My Humps is a queer anthem.
Yeah.
No Perfume Genius.
I'm kind of surprised now that you said that, I Got a Feeling could have possibly been in there. Just talking about, gays like to have fun,
Gays have feelings.
Like, you could write anything in there. Because, like, the only thing they have in there is gays face adversity and have to overcome hardships. Apparently that's all we do. It's constantly struggle. There's no moments of joy. It's all about overcoming things in the face of adversity.
One of the Pet Shop Boys is gay, Put opportunities on there. I also like making money. I mean, okay, maybe this one's too obscure, but Anony? No, Anony and the Johnstons? Nothing?
That goes over my head. And we'll say that.
Anony they did the song Drone Bomb Me. They were... They were on the Björk's, Volnakira.
Okay.
The one that came out in, 2015.
Big lack of show tunes, I just noticed.
And if I'm thinking of another queer artist that's new, that's experimental, but is popular, Arca. Arca is a huge producer right now.
Yeah.
Arca's in a mainline H&M commercial that I get on YouTube a lot.
Oh my god. I did not know that.
Rosalia, I believe.
Here's one that just crossed my mind. To the point where in the 90s, it was such a, gay meme, essentially, that I'm super surprised it's not in here. Believe by Cher.
Yeah!
No Cher! No Turn Back Time.
Arthur Russell could have made it on there.
Yeah,
An Arthur Russell or Coil song could have made it on there.
They just didn't want to put in the work. Put Sia in there instead. The gays love Sia, especially after music.
Someone pointed out that if you take the Drake's God's Plan music video and put it in reverse, it's just a video of Drake taking money from crying people and putting it behind his back and waddling away. just can't stop imagining it. Like, they're just crying, and then in reverse, you just see him reach into their lap, take a pile of money.
Oh, shit. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, God's plan, but Drake steals all the money. It just says, instead of the thing where it's like Drake gave away like $900 million, it just says, making up this video, Drake made $900 million. Yeah, so it's photoshopped, and so it's CNN, it says leaked video shows rapper Drake taking money from a poor family.
Well, folks, that has been going off for this week. And I don't think we even addressed it, but with RC on vacation last week, he had messaged me saying, hey, I didn't have any time to work on the videos and everything, so I'm going to need a week to work on my stuff. So that's basically what we're doing with the guest hosts weeks.
We're just sort of chilling, yeah. I don't know. I said we chilled this week. I end chilling after this point. you chill for other weeks. I'm just a guest chiller.
I do think this went really well, though. I'm definitely going to.
Thank you.
If I can overcome the typical anxiety of asking people favors to come to my stupid little show, yeah,
I love doing stuff like this. I always worry doing stuff like this because I get nervous and I talk a lot. And hopefully people like listening to me talking.
I do think RC will probably be back next week and we can get back to the requests because they're starting to pile up again. So we're going to try to get to those and knock that queue back down.
I was going to say, I feel like I've been hearing you guys say that, like, oh, the reviews are piling up since, like, 2016. The requests are piling up.
It's a floodgate we opened, and we've been chasing it, I think, ever since. I don't think we've ever really got into spitting distance of the finish line. One day.
I do think it's funny that I've been listening for so long that in that time span we have both transitioned our genders.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Shit.
Because I started listening, in 2015, so I didn't come out publicly until 2017.
Wow.
It's so weird for me to think about. That technically means that I have been trans longer than a lot of people who are older than me, and I'm like, please don't look at me for advice. I'm not.
Well, see, I don't even know if I was going to go this inside, but I do think you are a dear friend, and I'm very glad to have you in my circle and to have you around. And
absolutely.
And you were the first person I reached out to when I was considering transitioning, asking for advice. I will echo what you said, because I don't want to be the, you just said don't come to me for advice, and I'm saying, well, I did, and things went great.
Well, no. It's not. It's not like friends can ask for advice, but also I'm like, do not look at me as a girl. Like, people out there, I am not a genius. Like,
right? No,
I am the silly girl who talks about weird movies on the internet. I have a film degree. That should tell you enough to not listen to my opinions on things too much. Because I have a fake degree. I'm no expert in queerness.
It's so funny. You've got the film degree, I've got the broadcasting degree, and we're over here talking about a Rolling Stones article and shitting on it.
I mean, listen, if anything, that shows how easy it was to make a good list. Not even our fields. Yeah. I can't tell you the difference between any keys, but I can tell you that any list of queer songs without Frank Ocean is kind of ridiculous.
Music theory, I don't know what the fuck that is, but this list was bullshit. I can tell you that.
That's actually one of the reasons why, even though I listen to a lot of music, I don't cover it on my channel, because I'm just like, I would just be like, yeah, it sounds good. Like, I could not go as in deep as my video essays on films, because I
worry that ends up being what my reviews end up sounding like. So
I think you add enough texture to it. It's like a lot of because I like to argue that any good essay or review should not be about just like a list of things that happened. It should be explaining how it felt for you and exploring it back to someone else so that they can get an idea what it is, even if they're not going to feel the same. And that's why I love, I think... Oh, there goes my dog.
Right on time.
But that's why I love... I think there should be more video essays on stuff that people automatically disagree with. If it's told well enough, it's a good video, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Like, whenever H-Bomb puts out that prequels video, I will disagree with it because I don't like the prequels, but I hope it will probably be very well written.
Yeah. Like, it will be compelling. Will I walk away completely changed? Probably not.
I walk out the same person, but entertained for 2 hours.
Yeah, you can't ask for more than that.
This was a lot of fun. I apologize for you having to deconstruct the things back into the order that they should be in, instead of how we sort of went off on tangents.
People will have no...
We were going off.
I'm telling you, that's the nature of the show. I had no idea when we came up with the show 9 years ago, and we came up with the name of it, Going Off, exactly how apt that truly was, and just how it's been proven for almost a decade.
I got an idea for a 50-minute video about a now 50-year-old movie made by a pop band, because it brought up on a podcast within like the first 20 episodes of the show, so it's always kind of been a little like this.
When I hear people be inspired by different things, like, hey, y'all talked about this album and I went and I listened to it, and, I wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for y'all. I think I wouldn't have watched the Monkees movie Head if it wasn't for the podcast is my new favorite testimonial.
It's such a weird one, too, especially because it was not a glowing recommendation at all.
And I don't even remember that. I do not remember that break.
No, I don't remember what episode it was either. I think it was I think he was explaining it to another guest, but I don't remember. I for some reason my brain is just combined. It does not help that I used to listen to the podcast while I was doing homework, so a bunch of them just get swallowed up in the same era of like AP homework all at once.
That is so
Especially because of my ADHD, it would take me like 10 hours to do work because I wouldn't be on my pill at that time because my Ritalin gave me anxiety. So I would just be sort of spacing out while listening to you guys trying to write an AP US history essay.
Again, the difference is you were listening to this show, I was listening to a horribly problematic shock jock radio, so different paths,
I was also, this was 2015, I was also watching a lot of H3, and Frank, and
we've all been there.
And,
it's okay.
Maybe a little, embarrassingly, a little bit of Shoe on Head, because everyone was...
no.
I don't think anyone remembers how much people, like, a lot of people on YouTube were, like, befriending her and supporting her.
I remember
like,
that. It was a weird period.
And I just remember being like, I was also into atheist YouTube at that time, so like, the shift, like, I remember liking Armored Skeptic's video because I was an angry Catholic, ex-Catholic, and that all came together at the same time, and I remember even at the time being like, this is back when, like, I remember Sargon used to present as like, no, like, you still shouldn't vote for the Tories, you still shouldn't vote right-wing, I just disagree with this stuff, and even then I was like, this just seems like a dick. Like, he seems angry all the time about, like, minute stuff.
It's so wild to me that RC is Catholic and you and me were raised Catholic but aren't anymore.
To be fair, I was raised Catholic in the very New England sense of, like, we were all kind of a bit lapsed and we didn't go to church. But my parents still wanted me to get all the sacraments, so I'd go to CCD every week. And I went to vacation Bible camp because my parents needed me to do something over the week. over the summer.
Oh my god, no, it wasn't that bad for me. We had my mom's mom lived with us, and she was more religious than my parents were, so they were basically doing it for her sake. So they had me going to Sunday school and all of that, and they had me have my communion and confirmation and all of that. But as soon as that was over, I was fucking done.
I got confirmed after I knew I was trans, just because I was like, well, I did 14 years of this. I might as well get the last year out of the way.
I can't even fathom that. That is
I wore
wild.
a suit. It is so... And the best part about it is I show the picture... If you ever see that picture of me that I sometimes post of, it's me in like a black and white suit. That was me on after my confirmation.
Oh my god, I think I know which one you're talking about.
It's like at an angle, and I have like the bushy hair. Yeah, that is me. Like, I knew I was trans at that time, so I was growing out my hair, and yeah. It was very funny, because again, I was an atheist at that time, too.
Yeah.
And I also found an image of the videotapes we'd watch at Vacation Bible School, and I need to show this because every person I show a picture of this puppet to thinks it's the scariest looking thing they've ever seen. Just fucking...
Oh, no.
No soul behind those eyes.
Well, he's going in the thumbnail.
The longest outro ever. We started it when we started getting
People, and look, if people look at the thumbnail and they see that, they will be rewarded if they stick around to the very end.
I believe I posted a clip of one of his videos. It's just him in a pile of like little mascots that look exactly like him at his zoo.
What's his name?
Chatter the Chipmunk. Huh. And he's just singing a song going, I want to follow Jesus because he loves me so. And everyone just like replied to it, they're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, you don't understand. Since I went to Vacation Bible School, the video was everyone's favorite part because it meant they didn't have to run or recite Bible quotes.
Vacation Look, I need to have you on again just to talk about Bible school or camp or whatever.
Oh god, it's so funny too, because in the contrast of like that was the one camp I went to, and then my neighbor who was Jewish would go to a very fancy summer camp.
Oh,
and I
sure.
feel like I can't relate. Not only can I not relate these camp experiences because they're very different experiences, but also you are not a part of the religion that I went to camp for, so it's hard to explain what happened to me either.
When I grew up, I'm not an outdoorsy person at all, so camping
neither am I.
Sounds like a fucking nightmare. And I didn't know anybody that went to a summer camp. It was one of those things that seriously just looked like a thing that was on TV and didn't exist in real life.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think my parents signed us up for it because she was just like, all right, Emily, you need to make friends.
See, my parents didn't give a shit about that. I wish they kind of did.
You can't just play Mario Galaxy every day. You can't. But yeah, should I say where to find me?
Yes, absolutely. People need to know.
If I have my Twitter back, it's at AdequateEmily, all one word. If not, at Imprisoned Emily, because I thought that was funny. I'm also on Blue Sky now as a result of this, so if you have Blue Sky, I'm AdequateEmily on there as well. If you're one of the 30 of us, it feels like, on that site that are just all hanging out. It really does feel like it's like one group chat of like 30 people, you know?
And I just forget it even exists. I forget I even have it downloaded. But it's there, just in case.
And yeah, of course, the big one, my YouTube channel. I guess I also have a Twitch, but that I'm infrequent on there. The YouTube channel is AdequateEmily, all one word. I just put out a video essay. I'm coming out with my 10,000 subscriber Blu-ray collection video. I just recorded it the other day. It took 6 hours, so that's gonna be... It's gonna be edited down for sure, but it's gonna be... Put it on while cleaning or something. Maybe don't put it on your big screen and turn off your phone and be like, I'm gonna watch it like a movie. No, you can put it on in the background. Other than that, I'm working on, in between the video essays, I try to release some short form movie reviews, and I'm working on right now one on Across the Spider-Verse and one on Beau is Afraid, and those should be out in the next couple of weeks, and then I'll immediately have to prepare for the explosion of Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Oh my god, yeah.
I was gonna do the double feature thing with that one, but I couldn't convince my friend to do it. I was like, yeah, we'll see Nolan afterwards, and she's like, I don't care about Nolan. And I'm like, all right. But it would be funny. It'd be the joke. They're on the same day.
Well, everybody, thank you for spending your time listening to this week's episode of Going Off. We really, really appreciate it. We'll have all our links in the description so you can follow us anywhere and everywhere. And we will see you next time. And for Going Off, I'm Muse.
I'm Emily.
And we will see you next time. I need a better way to end these. Bye!